Welcome back everybody, my name is Nick930 and this is a video review for the standalone Uncharted game, Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Uncharted The Lost Legacy is a standalone expansion for Uncharted 4. It features the same incredible graphics engine, advanced character animations, beautiful storytelling and voice acting, along with the same tight platforming and combat controls. Many of the features offered in Uncharted 4 make a return in The Lost Legacy, only this time, instead of playing with the series' mainstay Nathan Drake, you'll be using Chloe Frazer, a character we haven't seen since Uncharted 3. The Lost Legacy proves that despite having a different protagonist, Naughty Dog can still deliver a genuine Uncharted experience. So let's begin by talking about Lost Legacy's story. In The Lost Legacy, you control Chloe Frazer and navigate your way through the jungles of India in the midst of a civil war and race insurgent leader Asav to an ancient mythical treasure. But you're not alone. Throughout your journey, you'll be accompanied by Nadine Ross, a character that was also featured prominently in Uncharted 4. The game's acting is delivered perfectly with realistic facial capture and full-body motion capture that delivers an incredibly believable experience, just like the past several Uncharted games. The plot is solid, with some high-intensity moments, surprises, and even emotional moments, but they can feel a bit on the safe side, with familiar plot points resurfacing. Despite being a standalone game, The Lost Legacy will take you a bit less time to play through, rounding out to about 7 hours of casual playtime. The pacing felt a bit quicker than a typical Uncharted game, with enemies picking up heavy Juggernaut suits and miniguns much faster than they typically do, and the difficulty seems to scale more rapidly. But for $40, this is excusable, and the experience never feels like it was rushed and missing opportunities. A good chunk of the game's story is stretched out in the second act, where you'll need to explore a large open world segment, requiring you to activate multiple switches to gain access to a large doorway. After this, the game gets a bit more linear, with large expansive platforming sections being broken up by difficult firefights in between the occasional cutscene story moment. The ending was satisfying despite playing it safe, and overall I walked away feeling like I played a genuine Uncharted game rather than a cash-in spin-off. In terms of gameplay, Lost Legacy delivers almost identical gameplay to what was featured in Uncharted 4. The platforming, gunplay, and Uncharted 4's obsession with the rope swings and sliding down muddy hills all make a welcome return. I love the gameplay mechanics of Uncharted 4 and was glad to see the same tight and creative gameplay make a return, with more inventive level designs and clever puzzles. But Lost Legacy does offer some of its own unique gameplay aesthetics. Stealth plays a much bigger role in the Lost Legacy, and Chloe can pick-lock doors and crates, similarly to the lockpick minigame in the old Splinter Cell games. Crates are scattered around the worlds of Lost Legacy and can be picked open to reveal special weapons and equipment to help you deal with nearby enemies. The second act features a large, expansive area to explore, complete with tons of secret treasures to find, including special tokens that can be used to unlock a unique bracelet that can help you locate hidden treasures more easily. This reward can make treasure hunting significantly easier, as it plays a tone through your controller speaker every time you get close to a treasure. If you feel this is too easy, you can always disable the feature through the main menu, but I felt it was a rewarding prize after searching far and wide for all the tokens in the large open world portion, and it helped me focus more on the game's story rather than checking every corner for the same old Uncharted treasures. Combat areas are larger and more expansive than they were in Uncharted 4, offering more opportunities for creative approaches to engagements. Having Nadine as a partner also plays a much bigger role than AI companions in the past. She'll catch you before you fall, help activate switches during puzzles, and even assist during stealth segments, sometimes stealthily knocking enemies out before you even get a chance to. But I never felt like she was cheating me out of the experience, and if anything, it made the experience more believable. Instead of Nathan Drake's notebook, pressing the touchpad will take out Chloe's cell phone, which can be used to take photographs of the nearby scenery at set locations. These photographs act like collectibles and seem to point players in the direction of beautiful art designs that the developers clearly wanted players to appreciate more. There's also some funny moments that Chloe will try to capture on her camera that help make the adventure feel more realistic. You can always open your phone and slide the touchpad to look back at the pictures, which also helps make the game feel more immersive. As I said before, the difficulty seems to scale a bit more rapidly due to the shorter overall length of the game, so enemies will grow in numbers between encounters much faster than usual, and enemy types will increase in strength and overall difficulty more quickly, something that may be a bit challenging for players new to the franchise. New weapons also make a debut in Lost Legacy, with typical weapons like the AK and M4 being replaced by weapons like the AUG, P90, and Type 95 assault rifle. All the weapons feel great and behave realistically, and I had fun experimenting with different combinations of weapons and different approaches to the several encounters throughout the game. As with every Uncharted game, platforming is a major component of the gameplay, and Lost Legacy's platforming is some of the best in the franchise. Most of the features remain mostly unchanged from Uncharted 4, so you'll still be swinging from ropes and climbing massive monuments. But it feels as though Naughty Dog was able to break out and build even more inventive climbing paths now that they are stuck with using the same tools and mechanics as before. Several platforming locations offered multiple paths to objectives, making the world feel more alive and less linear. I did run into instances where the pathfinding wasn't very clear, and occasionally I would jump to my death despite the drop not looking dangerous simply because the game didn't want me to go there yet, and I never felt like I had this problem in Uncharted 4. Graphics and performance are on point in The Lost Legacy, demonstrating the absolute very best the platform has to offer. Despite being locked at 30 frames per second on PlayStation 4 Pro, The Lost Legacy performs excellently with barely any noticeable slowdowns, and the game's excellent motion blur lends itself to an overall smooth presentation. I did experience some significant drop in frame rate during one combat segment halfway through the game involving a heavy rainfall and patrolling APC, but not to the point where it was unplayable. Visual quality, much like Uncharted 4, is unmatched today. Texture quality, environmental detail, physics, vegetation, and character animations are all incredibly realistic and lend themselves significantly to the experience, and deliver the best looking graphics in gaming. The game's multiplayer component runs at a locked 60 frames per second and a slightly reduced overall graphical quality, which is no surprise considering the multiplayer for The Lost Legacy is actually the same multiplayer bundled with Uncharted 4. The multiplayer for Uncharted The Lost Legacy features some of the more unique competitive multiplayer level designs in gaming, with more of a focus on verticality than most. Rope swings, slides, and climbing all play a big role in Uncharted's multiplayer, and everything feels smooth and refined. Players can choose from all the biggest characters in the franchise and customize their clothing to make them their own. Guns all feel surprisingly balanced, and despite being a third-person game, combat feels competitive and responsive. I've never spent much time with the Uncharted multiplayers, but every time I try them out, I always leave having had a fun experience, though the large amount of new features and quirks can be a bit overwhelming to new players. Uncharted The Lost Legacy features a strong narrative with fantastic gameplay with a slightly shorter overall length. Platforming, combat, and puzzle solving featured in Uncharted 4 all make a welcome return and feel as though they've been expanded upon, with new features like lockpicking and Chloe's cell phone making for interesting additions. Chloe Fraser is an excellent main protagonist, and the storyline between her and Nadine works surprisingly well and kept me engaged throughout the playthrough. Graphical quality is superb, and despite some rare instances of slowdowns, game performance is excellent. Uncharted The Lost Legacy is a worthy addition to the Uncharted franchise, and the $40 price tag is more than reasonable for an uncompromised experience that delivers on all of its promises. I hope this review was helpful, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more reviews posted every week.